Well, I feel that I was one of the lucky ones who had a small house. I was sheltered with my wife of 68 years, and she is very protective of me. And we have my daughter and son-in-law who live just 7 houses up street from us, and they also were very protective of us. And my grandson, when he came to visit, it was always a joy to see him. And so we got adjusted to to being secluded in the house, and went out for short walks around the neighborhood, which is quiet and safe. Hardly saw anyone outside, and adjusted our habits of shopping using Instacart and home delivery of groceries, and whatever we failed to get, we resorted to the help of our children. I was also fortunate to also being retired. I carried with me the work that I like to do. I studied a small group of insects. I have a small laboratory in the basement of my house, and so I continued doing things that I like, and it was. The rest was complemented with entertainment on TV like everybody else. Netflix was a lifesaver.
Has there been anything that's been drastically different for you?
Oh, everything was drastically different. We were subscribers of the opera and the Seattle Symphony, and we had to forego our subscriptions, and we enjoyed going to a theater to watch movies on the big screen. We had to forego that. Many things that we enjoyed interacting with people to some extent. We don't have many since we moved to Seattle just about 20 years ago. We didn't make many friends, but we had some good friends that we sometimes got together with them to play mahjong, and we couldn't do it. But those were minor things by comparison to the hardships that people suffered all around the world. So we feel basically fortunate that we could overcome the difficulties and enjoy what we could.
Have you been connecting with people via Zoom meetings?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we did. We have family in actually 4 different continents. We have family in Brazil, family in Israel, and family, and in fact there is one niece who lives in Taiwan. So we started doing this monthly Zoom meeting. And altogether, we have about 22 people, the couples together, and about 15 on the screen. So it's been fun. And in fact, we have one tomorrow.
Was this something you were doing before the pandemic?
No, not at all. This started by initiative of a grand niece from Israel, and she started it at a Passover festivity, and so they thought it was an occasion for the family to see each other. And I suggested that we do this on a monthly basis, and it's been going on for a year now.
So in a way, the pandemic has brought you all closer.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
That's great. And what are you concerned about?
Well, foremost, I'm concerned about the safety of the grandchildren who were not vaccinated yet, and I hope they will be soon. Up until the elections, I was very concerned about the future of the country, but I feel a little more at ease right now, and I think that some of things are moving in the right direction. I'm right now, unfortunately, I contemplating some health conditions that are have been worrisome for the family. It's that hopefully will be resolved eventually later this year, but it's been a concern. And it is a concern because it places the burden on the family because they feel like they want to do more, and we try as much as we can to spare them from the burden of having aging parents. We always like to be the ones who help, not the ones who are helped. And so the roles are beginning to change now.
Is that difficult for you?
Very, yes, very difficult.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that's difficult?
Well, because we are the parents, and they have their whole lives ahead of them, and so we don't want to be a burden on them. But we are very fortunate to have them, and
so in your lifetime, have you experienced anything that's been quite like this pandemic?
well, it's interesting. That's an interesting question because we lived in three different countries. We were born in Brazil, and in Brazil we went through a military coup and a revolution. Then we lived for 4 years in Israel, and in Israel we went through a war. So we thought that this was quite bad. Then we moved. In Brazil also, still while we were there, we lived through severe floods and other natural disasters. And then we moved to the United States and lived in the Midwest, and we with fear of tornadoes during the season, and in the severe thunderstorms and floods and everything else. And then came the pandemic, and this trumps everything else. It's been a unique experience. Although we had in the family a story of living through the Spanish flu, and in fact, my grandfather was given as dead, and he was beginning to be taken away when he managed to show that he wasn't. Otherwise, he would have ended up in a mass grave in Rio. So, but this was just a story that was told by the family. I didn't lived through that because the pandemic had ended when I was born. But this one was a unique experience. Frightening.
So young people like Ruben's age, you know, he's in a really important period of his life. You know, the world is kind of open to him and what he decides to do with his life and career paths and personal choices. And he's in a pivotal time right now when I think it's important for him to be able to socialize with his friends and you know, navigate relationships and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to young people about dealing with that?
I would say that to keep doing as best as you can the things that you love and you believe that are important for you, as long as you stay protected and remain aware of your surroundings and adjust to the conditions and do the best you can and have confidence that better days are ahead. You have your whole life ahead of you, and remain optimistic that science today advances at the pace, as we saw with the development of the vaccine, that it's unprecedented. So, you know, I'm confident that my grandchildren can contemplate a lifespan of 100 plus years, so they have a long ways to go, and as long as they remain confident and do always the best they can, they will succeed and overcome the obstacles.
So I think the pandemic for a lot of people has been an opportunity to become more self-aware, to maybe learn more about ourselves. At your age, do you feel like you've experienced that, or do you feel like you've already achieved a lot of that wisdom over the years?
Well, there were lots of adjustments. The confinement with just one person, myself and my wife, sometimes brought some, I would say, disagreements, things that I felt that sometimes I was a little more edgy than I should have been, was a little more, short-tempered. And so, yes, indeed, it takes a toll. But the important thing is to realize that and try to reset the pace and reset the goals and expectations to what is possible, not to what you desire them to be.
Any last thoughts? Anything else that's important to you that you'd like to express? Maybe thinking about the things that are most important to you in your life.
Yeah, I think the last thought is really to live every day as if it were your last one. So live it at the fullest, within the limitations that the surroundings and your own body permits, and be close to to family and as much as possible, because it's the most important thing that you have is your family and your closest friends.